Welcome everyone again. Chapter 4, Book of Job. Who would like to start by reading it for us?
Then Eliphas the Temanite answered, If someone ventures to talk with you, will you be grieved? But who can withhold himself from speaking? Behold, ye have instructed many, ye have strengthened the weak hands. Your words have supported him who was falling. Ye have made firm the feeble knees. But now it is come to you a new fate. It touches you, and you are troubled. Isn't your piety your confidence, the integrity of your ways your hope? Remember now whoever perished, being innocent, or where were the upright cut off? According to what I have seen, those who plough iniquity and sow trouble reap the same. By the breath of God they perish, by the blast of his anger are they consumed. The roaring of the lion and the voice of the fierce lion, the teeth of the young lions are broken. The old lion perishes for lack of prey, and the cubs of the lioness are scattered abroad. Now a thing was secretly brought to me, my ear received a whisper of it. In thoughts from the visions of the night, when deep sleep falls on men, fear came on me, and trembling, which made all my bones shake. Then a spirit passed before my face, the hair of my flesh stood up. It stood still, but I couldn't discern the appearance of it. A form was before my eyes. Silence. Then I heard a voice saying, Shall mortal man be more just than God? Shall a man be more pure than his Maker? Behold, he puts no trust in his servants. He charges his angels with error. How much more those who dwell in houses of clay, whose foundation is in the dust, who are crushed before the moth. Between morning and evening they are destroyed, and they perish forever without any regarding it. Isn't their tent cord plucked up within them? They die, and that without wisdom.
Amen. No, don't say amen. Wise man, apparently. Eliphas. From the city of Teman. And he's one of Job's 3 friends who comes to comfort him. Sounds very comforting what he's saying. All right, so he's going to speak some wisdom to Job because Job doesn't have any wisdom. Let that sink in for a bit. Okay, before we start getting into the text itself, let's pray as we should have at the beginning. Avinu Malkeinu, our Father, our King, we ask that you would open the scriptures to us, give us wisdom and understanding, that we might have ears to hear and eyes to see what the Ruach has for us today, and that you might give to each of us according to the measure of faith that which is portioned for us in this scripture. In Yeshua's name, Amen. Eliphaz was a well-meaning man. We see them everywhere. Well-meaning. Right? He's a good friend. He sat with Job for 7 days without saying a word. But the poor guy can't take it anymore. He's got to say something. Impatient people. I mean, he's not as impatient as some people, but he's the first one in line to say something after 7 days. Anybody know why 7 days?
Perfect number?
Yeah, number of perfection, completion. What else happens in 7 days, especially in the Jewish Hebrew culture? Shabbat, yeah, day of rest. There's a particular thing, it's actually called 7, that the Jewish people and our Hebrew brothers do when faced with things like this, what Job is going through. The days of mourning, have you heard of that? It's called Shiva, 7. And they are allowed to mourn for 7 days. Now, we started with the fact that he lost everything and his children, right? And then he gets struck by all this. These people are respectful of Job's mourning for his children and also for himself, for what he's going through. And so they respect the 7 days. Just something that is not apparent in the text, but it's also part of a cultural thing that happens. Just little gems that you pick up along the way as you read this. And Eliphas is one of the good guys. He's sitting with him in the ground for 7 days. And he's in no rush to leave, which is very unusual for today's people. And he's going to say something, and we might agree, we might disagree with it. But understand that all that these people are trying to say to him is in order to help. That's their motivation, is to help Job, regardless of whether they're right or wrong. Okay, because we're going to find out that they're wrong at some points, and some things they're going to be right. And it doesn't really matter in the end, because God doesn't kill them for what they say. He rebukes them, but we're going to see that their motivation is to help their friend in a time of need. Where most people, having seen Job's wounds and lacerations and whatever he was getting in his body, they would have fled according to their the natural order of that society, right? When you see boils and leprosy and stuff like that, you distance yourself from that person. In fact, they had a camp outside the camp for people like that, right? So the fact that these 3 guys are sitting around with Job is a credit to them. Then Eliphaz the Temanite answered. Now the other thing is, these guys travel a fair distance to get to where Job was, didn't they? And if you look at the different sites where these guys come from, you know, they're not close places. They're not like around the corner. I'm just going to go and see Job, you know, 5 minutes down the road, you're there. These guys traveled days and night, you know, with animals, with servants, family, whatever, you know. So they traveled a fair way just to come and be with their friend in an hour of need. So credit goes to them for all of that. And then Eliphaz begins saying to him, if anyone ventures to talk with you, will you be grieved? Hold on. We were quiet for 7 days. What are you talking about, Eliphaz? What do you mean, buddy? I'm in pain, and for 7 days we haven't talked. Yeah, I complained a little bit before and cursed the day of my birth, but you know, we haven't talked, and I didn't get upset at anyone, so why are you saying that? The question is valid though, because in his state, I guess Eliphaz is sort of like easing himself into the conversation rather than, you know, throw it all out at him. It's your fault, buddy. It's because you sinned. So he's sort of, that's the icebreaker. He wants to have a friend with an icebreaker like that. Anyway. But who can withhold himself from speaking with you? I'm still going to tell you what you don't want to hear. That's a good friend, actually. The ones that tell you what you don't want to hear, even if you don't want to hear it. Because we're used to the friends that tell us only what we want to hear, right? Because they're the ones that soothe our lives, but they're not the beneficial ones, are they? The ones that never tell you when you're wrong,
Till it's too late.
they're not really friends. He says, verse 3, behold, you have instructed many. You have strengthened the weak hands. Your words have supported him who was failing. You have made firm the feeble knees. Wow. Beautiful. Great acknowledgement. It's wonderful when people acknowledge what you do. It is. You put all the effort, you make this beautiful meal, right? Or beautiful cake. And then people go past, they look at it, and they just keep going. They don't say anything. You spend all that time preparing the meal, or they just eat it and whatever, go and do their next thing. It's nice when they stop and say, oh, wow, you made a cake. Thank you. Thank you, Matthew. Right? Oh, thank you, Kayla. He cooked a beautiful meal. Sam, right? It is important to acknowledge what people do, even in the small things, especially in the small things. Yeah? Married people, take notes. People thinking to get married, take notes too. Acknowledge the little things, because those things are very important with us humans. But then he goes and ruins it, right? Because let's go to verse 5 there. But now it is come to you, and you faint. It touches you, and you are troubled. What do you mean I'm troubled, buddy? Look at me. What do you mean? It's like, what gave you that idea? I'm in pain, man. Oh, yes. You need to practice what you preach, brother. Have you heard that one before? Isn't your piety your confidence? The integrity of your ways, your hope? Right? Way to kick a guy when he's down. Hold on. Shouldn't we all be this guy with piety and with the ways of Yehovah which lead us to hope? Why does he say your ways, your piety? See, this is something that in our human condition we tend to do a lot. This guy, he's righteous, or he thinks he's righteous, right? He doesn't do what we do, so therefore he must think he's better than us. We start, straight away. Whenever somebody tries to do what is right before God, people turn that and make it so that they belittle that person for trying to do what is right before God. They belittle them because that means that puts that person below their level. See? They exalt themselves above that other person. Oh, he thinks he's holy. He thinks he's righteous. Right? Because if he thinks he's holy and he thinks he's righteous, then that means I'm still okay. My righteousness and my holiness is okay. Because they think that. right? Your piety is your confidence, Brother Job. Hold on, shouldn't we all have the same piety? Which is birthed from the Torah, from the scriptures themselves. There is a measuring stick called the Torah that God gave us, Jehovah gave us all. The integrity of your ways, your hope. Shouldn't we all have integrity in the ways of Jehovah? So why is he putting Job down by saying your piety, your integrity? Because he's not feeling good about his ways, is he? He's not feeling good about his piety and his integrity before God. So now he's got an opportunity. See how you are, Job? It must be that your integrity and your piety was not as good as you thought, buddy. There's this need to put people down so that we can feel better about ourselves. Especially those who are more righteous than us. Yeah? Because if they are more righteous than us, then that means my righteousness doesn't level up. I have to work harder. I have to do more. I have to look into the actual scriptures and read my Bible. I have to pray. But if his righteousness leads him to having boils and losing all that he has, he must be in sin, right? Straight away, this is where our mentality takes us. So this is where Eliphas is going. 7. Remember now, however, whoever perished being innocent. See, there it is. You're not innocent, Job. You have done something wrong, for sure. Why? Because what I am seeing, my eyes don't lie. If you're righteous and you serve God, this shouldn't be happening to you. That's how people think. And the first opportunity they get to bring a righteous man down, or woman, that's exactly what people do. Because somehow that makes them feel more secure about their own righteousness and where they are in their walk with God. Instead of thinking, no, I want to be righteous, like Yeshua, like Paul, like the apostles, and yeah, why not? Like the guy that, is teaching me Torah, Rabbi Bergson, why not? Why do we have to put the servants of God down so that we can feel better about ourselves? In fact, we should all aim to be servants of God. Who's the greatest in the kingdom? What did he say? Who's the greatest in the kingdom? The servant of all is the greatest in the kingdom. Whoever serves more is the greatest. You want to be great in the kingdom? It's very simple. Serve. Stop serving yourself, blessing yourself. Go back to Job chapter 1. So the innocent don't perish, apparently, according to Eliphas. And then he goes, or where were the upright cut off? See, these things don't happen to the upright. Job, what were you thinking? What did you do? See, we have this idea that we know exactly what happens to what and what people need always. So we have this concept that we can fix other people. According to what I have seen, those who plow iniquity and sow trouble reap the same. according to what I have seen. He's saying the truth, but the truth doesn't apply to everything, right? And we can't fix. This is the doctor giving a pill to everyone and expecting to heal everyone. The same pill, sorry, right? The Panadol doctor. Is that going to fix it? No, it's going to make you feel better, but it's not going to fix it. And he's right in saying some of those things. Again, there is a time and a place for those things, and that's true. But in the case of Job, he's assuming, and this is a problem because assumptions don't equate to truth. And a lot of the times we make assumptions based on what we see, based on what we hear. And if you look when Yehovah is given the guidelines to the elders of Israel on how to do justice to the people of God, he says, you are not to take a man's word, you are to make careful inquiries and consider the poor as well as the rich in the same level. And so when we come to make a judgment on what's going on, assumption is always a very dangerous thing. You know, even when we read the scriptures and we assume someone is saying something, like Paul dealing with the issue of circumcision, we are assuming that he's doing away with that, when Paul is not talking about that at all. He's talking about salvation through circumcision, which is not in the scriptures. It's against the scriptures, actually. He's in no way talking about the laws of Moses or breaking the laws of Moses in any of those, but we assume he is because of the context of where we live today and what has been said to us as doctrine passed down from the Catholic Church, the Christian Church, Protestant Church, and so on and so forth. 2,000 years of history passed down, traditions that added or took away from the words of God. And so assumptions can be very problematic. In fact, it can bring spiritual death. Don't assume things, research them. Do the hard work. You know, work out what's going on. Ask the questions. You know, if you don't know, find someone that does and ask the questions. You know, what does it mean by this? If you're not happy with that answer, go back and research it again. Look for the other possibilities. What could this mean? But everybody just wants it in a can. Yeah. Open the can, serve it, and that's it. It's done. All prepared for you. Prepared meals. 2-minute noodles, we call it, right? Quick and easy. No one wants to do the hard work of finding out what's going on behind. And in this case, what was going on was in the spirit realm, so he wasn't going to find out straight out either way, was it? Unless he had a good connection with God, which, anyway, is recommended, people. And then he goes on to say, by the breath of God, by the Ruach of Elohim, they perish. By the blast of his anger are they consumed. He seems to be speaking in a very metaphorical, spiritual way about something that is physical. And it's happening to poor Job. Right? And this is the other thing that people do. They allegorize everything. They make it sound spiritual. Oh, let me tell you, brother. What's your problem? I got a bad foot. My back hurts. Oh, that's because you're carrying some whatever unresolved emotion with a relative from and you've been carrying it for so long that it's affecting your back. And well, that might have some issues with that. Yes, that might be there, but there's a physical pain and there is a need that the person has. Hey, how about we pray for you right there and then? How about we anoint you in the area that hurts? What about if we talk about your feelings that are hurt, right? And we deal with that right now. No. We spiritualize it and allegorize it so that we don't actually have to deal with it, right? What's your problem, brother? Oh, I don't have any money to feed my family. I don't have any bread, milk. I got two loaves of bread, 2 jars of milk in my fridge. Brother, let's pray. I'll pray for you during the week. I know God is going to provide for you. Hold on, guys. I got the milk in there. You know what, brother? Don't worry about it. Here, take the bread, take the milk, right? Like the other day, we didn't have milk. David came, Maya, we had some milk. We had the coffees, right?
It's very important.
They had just bought it. That was the only one they had, maybe. I don't know. Just saying. Right? But the thing that we were talking about before, the giving heart, yeah, it's so important because we supply the need. We don't need to spiritualize it. Right? There might be a spiritual part to it, and yes, you can deal with that too. But let's deal with it with the physical need, whatever is happening at the moment. Let's deal with it right there and then. Don't send your brother home with hunger, and without provision for his children or whatever. It's important that we understand that not everything needs to be allegorized and exalted to the spirit realm somewhere out in the ethos where no one can reach it. So it is important that we don't allegorize and spiritualize everything. There is a place for spirituality. Absolutely, the spirit world is as real as this one. But when we're dealing with something, don't wait for later on and spiritualize it so that you don't have to actually deal with it, which is what Eliphas is doing here. He spiritualizes everything. Oh, it's not really your pain, Job, that you're feeling. It's the result of some, spiritual thing, an emotional baggage that you carry or some sin that you've done. It cannot be that you're actually feeling pain from what you have in your body. Anyway, the breath of God, the Ruach of Elohim, makes people perish. By the blast of his anger, they are consumed. He could write a poem, this guy. Oh, hold on, I think he was writing a poem. The roaring of the lion, the voice of the fierce lion, the teeth of the young lions. He must like lions. He really likes lions. What is that all got to do with poor Job feeling pain? Man, I'm bleeding out here. Who cares about the lion and their teeth? Give me a break.
Are you serious?
I think there's a zoo just... No. Go and see the lions. The old lion perishes for lack of prey. What the hell does it got to do? What does it got to do with me? Anyway, the cubs of the lioness are scattered abroad. Oh, poor cubs. 12. A thing was secretly brought to me. My ear received a whisper of it. Oh, here we go. Lashon hara, people. Don't put your ears to Lashon hara. What's Lashon hara? The evil tongue. When the evil tongue comes to your house, kick him out. Literally. Please. You have my okay to do that. If anybody comes to your house with Lashon Hara, kick them out. Gossip. The Hebrew word for gossip. It's called the evil tongue. Oh, did you hear? We got a song in Spanish for that, don't we?
Which one?
The one that says, "Es pa que ore." It's so that you can pray. Have you heard about? But I'm only telling you so that you can pray for them. Right? The evil tongue. Oh yeah, but it's terrible. Let me tell you. You know what they do? Oh, please tell me. I'll put the kettle on. Let's. Oh, I'm only saying it. Don't take it the wrong way. I'm only saying it so that you can pray for them.
So we can pray.
Right? Right? When something is being said to you in secret, kick them out. There should be no secrets. In fact, whatever is secret will be screamed out from the rooftops. There's no secrets in the kingdom, except the secrets of God that are revealed. But anyway, a thing was secretly brought to me. My ear received a whisper of it. Guard your ears. That's why you have the helmet of Yeshua, to protect your ears. In thoughts from visions of the night. Here we go. When deep sleep falls on man. I had a vision, brother. I have the answer for you. And I'm not saying that's wrong. There is a place for that. But you know those people that always have a vision for you? That they're constantly bringing you a revelation from the Ruach because they know how to fix everyone and everything, and they know exactly what you need always. Yeah? We've met some of those at times. Oh, let me tell you about the vision I've had for you because you need it. Anyway, I'm not saying that God doesn't give you visions. Don't sidetrack me. God does give us vision. God does give us dreams. And some dreams are very good. Some dreams are very spot on. Yep. And we appreciate those dreams. But not the people that are trying to manipulate you by saying they've had visions and dreams. Because there's people that have visions and dreams, and they use that as a means to manipulate you into doing whatever they want you to do. Stay away from those people. Cast them out. Fear came on me, and trembling, which made all my bones shake. That should be an indicator to you that that vision is no good. Shouldn't it?
I think so.
I mean, if I get the EBGBs, the cold behind the back and the standing of the hairs, then you know that something's not right. I stood still, but I couldn't discern the appearance of it. Oh, buddy, run the other way. A form was before my eyes, right, like a human form. Silence. It was very silent. Then I heard a voice saying, "Shall mortal men be more just than Elohim?" Did God really say, "You will die"? I mean, it sounds almost parallel, right? Who was that voice that was speaking to him? Guy, come on, pick up,
God.
This is why my sheep hear my voice and they follow me. People that know Elohim, people that know Yeshua, they can hear his voice and recognize it. And it's never shady, and it's never in the hidden places of your dreams and visions, in darkness where you can't make out. That's not how Yeshua comes. He comes bold in full light. You can't even look at him sometimes because he's so bright, right? He comes open and speaks loudly, proud to you. The one that is hiding in the dark, and who is that guy? We all know him. You got to learn to recognize his voice too. He's our enemy, the adversary. Azazel. That's his name. And what did he says? Shall mortal man be more just, righteous than Elohim? Shall a man be more pure than his maker? Is that an accusation? That sounds like an accusation to me. It's not just a question. There is an underlying, twisting of words to make it into an accusation. Is Job justifying himself to be more righteous than God? Right? That's the underlying thing. Is Job saying he's more righteous than God? Is Job saying that he's more pure than even his own maker? Job never said that, did he? That's a false accusation. And the point that we don't understand, I think, is sort of like hidden meaning behind all this is what Satan is trying to do. What do you think Satan's trying to do? Get him to curse God? Because what would that prove? What's this whole battle about?
That no matter what happens, he's not going to turn against God.
Why does God need to prove anything to Satan? All right, let's do this. Think about this. Why does God need to prove anything to Satan? Why would that benefit Satan in any way? Let's say that Job did that. Let's say that Job cursed God. What would it favor that? Why would that favor Satan? So the point is that Torah is an eternal document of law that governs both worlds, this world and the spirit world, right? So this is the thing that we just think on this world terms because we are in this world. But the Torah transposes to the spiritual world as well. And whatever God has set as part of his Torah is a law in heaven as it is on earth. Do we understand that?
Yep.
Okay, so if God transgresses the law that he set out himself, he's now no longer in the position of authority because his authority automatically transfers to the accuser. From a legal perspective, he loses authority. So what is happening, yes, Job is the pawn in this, the piece that is being moved, but the real accusation is not against Job. The real accusation is against God. Because God brings it out. Right? Have you seen my servant Job? Right? So Satan takes that opportunity and says, see, but it's because of what you do. The accusation is not against Job, it's against God himself. And if you understand that Satan is trying to take not the throne of Adam and not the throne of Job, Satan is trying to take the throne of God.
Yes.
And if he can make God feeble in the eyes of the angels, remember he already took a third of the stars of the heavens with him. He took a third of the angels with him. And that became the fallen angels that bred the Nephilim afterwards.
That's a lot. A third.
Right? So he took down with him a third of the stars of heaven. If he can take the other ones, he's won. So if he can make God look like he's a liar, God won't just lose face, he'll lose authority. And what happened with Adam and Eve would happen. Not that he can do that because God is omniscient, so and omnipresent, and all-knowing. And so God is already know what's happening. He's already seeing what he's coming up with. But Satan's still stupid enough to try. And this is what we're looking at here. It's not just about Job. It's about God himself being in the judgment of the accuser, or being attacked by the accuser in this instance. And Job being his wild card, his ace. Hold on. I got one. 17. More pure than his maker. Behold, he puts no trust in his servants. He charges his angels with error. That sounds a bit weird, that one. Yeah. He puts no trust in his servants. He charges his angels with error. If you read it up front like this in English, it doesn't make a lot of sense. It's just sort of like whatever. If you understand what he's trying to say there from the ancient languages and trying to understand for the meaning of what's going on, he basically is saying that God is the one who gives the authority to his servants, and he gives authority again, to his angels to deal with error. So his angels are with him in dealing with error, with wrongdoing. In other words, God has backup. God has his servants and his angels to do his word, to do his work, to deal with the wrongdoers, to those who do error. That's more like a threat. See, Job, you've done wrong. God has sent his angels against you and his servants. How much more those who dwell on houses of clay, whose foundation is in the dust, who are crushed before the moth. That's a rebuke from saying to him, you thought you had so much, you thought you were so great. God brought all this judgment on you because you're nothing. You dwell in a house of clay, which has its foundations on the dust, and you are crushed before the moth, even, which is an idiom that you're like the you worm of Job.
You're worthless.
You're worthless. Between morning and evening they are destroyed. They perish forever without any regarding it. Between morning and evening, so in half a day they are destroyed. It doesn't take much to destroy the wicked, the evil ones. God just destroys them like nothing. They perish forever without anyone regarding it. That's you, Job. You're a nothing. You are going to be destroyed because of what you've done. So, very encouraging, counsel from his friend. He wants a friend like this. I like a friend like that, but not the counsel part. He's not very good at counseling. There's people like this, not very good at counseling. Not everybody is good at counseling. He's like a blunt, what shall we say, a blunt shovel in the face. Isn't their tent cord plucked up within them? They die, and that without wisdom. Right? Well, he's putting wisdom there because he's making himself to be wiser than the person he's trying to counsel. right? You need to exalt yourself higher than the person you're trying to counsel, so that the person that you're trying to counsel can look up to you and say, "Oh, you're so wise."
Just put you down.
Right? You're so wise, brother. I'm going to take your counsel because you said that you're wise. You know, we think erroneously that when people look at us in this era of, what should we call it? This, higher than you positioning that we do as humans, that somehow that equates us to being wise and being better than and all that sort of stuff, which it doesn't. And you think that people are going to listen to you because you portray an air of, being better than others. But that's not the case. True wisdom does not need to do that. True wisdom just flows and is usually peaceful, and it usually brings fruit behind it, right? True wisdom, when it's spoken and received, brings about shalom, peace, prosperity, all things become right, and it speaks loud, right? We got the book of Proverbs tells us all about that. There's no need for posturing. For those who have wisdom, they don't need to put themselves up like this guy. Isn't their 10 cord plucked up? Well, we talked about Ecclesiastes there, when the silver cord is broken. Right? He's just putting him to death, really. So, isn't the 10 cord of the wicked plucked up within them? You better be careful, Job, that you don't die, because God is going to kill you soon. Unless you get some wisdom, buddy. Let me give you wisdom. That's basically what he's saying to him. Unless you get some wisdom, God is going to kill you. Right? And I'm your salvation. Oh. And so Eliphas is a well-meaning guy. Don't get me wrong, he's well-meaning. He thinks he's got it all worked out, how he's going to help Job. He hasn't really sought out from God a way to help his friend, which he should have done beforehand in preparation. Abba, how do we help our friend? What words can I say to help him in this time of need, in this time of trouble, which should have been the proper way of doing it? No. He goes straight into counsel because he already knows what is best for his friend. Yeah, I got the solution for you, Job. Let me tell you, I have some wisdom for you, brother. We find lots of those people around. Right? They got everybody's problems sorted out, except their own. You just hear them open their mouth about anything, and it's just rubbish, right? But they got a counsel for everyone. The prophets, they prophesy on everyone, right? One by one. God said this to you. God said that to you, right? We've heard those guys before. Right? They go around house to house. Oh, I'll come with a word from God for you. I got one for you too.
Leave.
Be gone. Yeshua's name. Come out. Lay hands on. It's important that we understand that when we are doing God's work or God's bidding in helping anyone, that we go in there with a humble heart, not with a self-righteous attitude. When we are trying to help someone, we must, like with all things in God, in Yehovah, we must humble ourselves before the presence of Yehovah and ask for His help, not rely on our own wisdom and understanding, because we're all good at something And sometimes we draw from our own experiences, knowledge, abilities, even our own wealth. And we think that is the way to help a friend, right? But the reality of it is that wisdom comes from Elohim, not from us. And if you want to help someone in need, someone who needs your help, really, you must first get that wisdom from Elohim, not rely on your own, abilities and power and strength or whatever. Wisdom comes from Yehovah. Don't be an Eliphas. Yep. Be an Elihu. Anyway, we'll get to Elihu. All right. We're going to leave it at that. Shalom.